Welcome to Living the Full Life, a show about enjoying an active and fulfilling life in and around McKinney and Collin County. Hear from local residents and experts about all the fun options available, including fitness and wellness, social events and activities, fine dining, outdoor recreation, and so much more. Brought to you by Touchmark at Emerald Lake, this is Living the Full Life.
Hello, welcome to Living the Full Life, our video podcast all about living the full life in Collin County and specifically McKinney, Texas. That's where our new beautiful Touchmark campus is located, an all-inclusive retirement community, Touchmark at Emerald Lake. And today we're going to talk about an upcoming event on our campus. I'm very excited to welcome my guest today, Trish Poupard, who is an artist, a professional artist who makes and creates and teaches and is going to run an art gala for us. So Trish, welcome.
Thank you, Christina.
Now tell me, as a young girl, did you picture yourself being an artist?
As a young girl, I was very creative, and I remember dressing up the dog and trick-or-treating the dog when it wasn't Halloween. And I was always creative, yes. I remember taking my first watercolor class. During the summer, I would walk about a mile in the heat of California, and they didn't have a kids class, so I hung out with, folks. And it was really fun.
And so you were creative as a child, but then you didn't start as an artist. How did you become back to watercolor?
So I started out as a clothing designer, and I didn't get a degree to do that. And I can say that out loud now that my kids are already in college. I kind of had to drop out because I was skipping, when you're in the garment industry, you have to drop a class. If there's deadlines, you don't tell your boss, I'm going to go to class tonight, and then you work weekends. So that didn't work out for me. But after that, I actually became a clothing designer, working really hard in Los Angeles and working my way up and giving myself my own raises, and just, I have to say, I'm pretty tough because of it.
Definitely. So you took an art or a watercolor class as a hobby to relieve stress, or?
Right. So then I was fired, and then I became when I was pregnant. But that was opened the door. My husband thought, wait, maybe someone should be home because you travel too much, and he actually travels for a living. So I thought, well, maybe that's a good thing, and it became a great thing. And then, so I got involved with a school that the kids were in, and then I met a mom, and she said I'd always wanted to take a watercolor class, and so that's where it started.
Okay, and now we're years away from that. The children are now in college, and as you wrote me an email, I noticed all these letters after your name, all these acronyms, and I know that means something important. So tell me what these artistic certifications represent.
Well, it's kind of really nice to have a bunch of signature statuses, and many of the top watercolor societies nationally have a program. If you get so many, depending on which one you're in, acceptances into their juried exhibitions, then you can apply for signature status. So I have 6 now, and it's not easy to get, and it's kind of cool. And I found out that that's important because I accidentally sold a painting because I had all these signatures after my name because they incorrectly asked for which organizations are you affiliated with. They didn't say signatures, and it got listed as they were signatures. And my painting sold like that in an exhibition in New York that I didn't expect it to sell. And so I realized these are worth something. People collect artists with signatures.
So it gives you credibility, and you can't earn it quickly.
No.
It takes years for
years
you
and
to.
Years.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your creative process, a little bit about how a painting goes from nothing to ready to go out.
Right, so I'm always inspired from every kind of thing that you could possibly see. I actually say that I am drawn to the light of a painting, so I paint light. So when you see a reflection, you see a shadow. So there's certain criteria that really turn me on. So everyone's got different things. I paint any genre. It's just that I must see the light. After that, I take my photos or videos. I actually use videos, and then I print them out, wasting lots of paper and ink, but it's the way I start. And then I keep those in the queue, and then when I'm ready for paintings that I want to start, I then draw them out and have them ready to paint, and I'm constantly working on 3 paintings to 5 paintings at once.
Wow, so you might see something but then not paint it for a year. It might be in your queue for a couple years.
You're absolutely right. I remember seeing a person that I wanted to paint and finally got him, he was a stranger, and he let me take his video so I could paint him. And then I exchanged information, and he was excited, and I said, it won't be a while. And so a year later, I finished the painting, tried to contact him, and couldn't, because I like to give a print to someone that I've used. Any models that I've used or that have agreed get something from me.
Okay, so you're not just painting, you're also teaching.
Right.
Do you get a lot of joy from, teaching is an art also, so
Right.
you're combining 2 things. What joy does that bring you?
I love teaching, but I didn't start out thinking, gee, I want to be a teacher. It was COVID that said to me, boy, this is wrong, and people are missing out, and that was the thing. And I also have this kind of a trifecta point of view. My work is one, my painting, teaching, that's sort of giving back, but you're getting paid, and the other one is volunteering. So I do volunteer, and I have been on the board of the Southwestern Watercolor Society in Dallas.
You are so balanced. We're all striving for this. Okay, so you've got students coming in, and we all do this, just roadblock. They want it to be perfect right out of the gate, and then they're like, I can't do it, and then the next thing you know, how do you get your students from A to finished product?
So it's, a couple of things are just getting through these techniques, and the way that my class is structured is that you don't have to be able to draw. I'm going to give you every kind of, information. All the information is going to be given. I'm not holding back. But on the other hand, yes, every artist struggles with, is it done? Am I good enough? So me being tough, I kind of feel like I'm more of a watercolor coach and less of a teacher. But I really do believe that you need to settle, you need to turn on the music and then let go and stop thinking so much. So the techniques that I teach, you don't have to think a lot. So there's so many things that people are always talking about, different, basis of a painting and structure. And, so I feel like let that go and then do the photorealism techniques that I've been taught, and then you can paint anything you want.
And how do you see students respond when it works and they're successful? I can't imagine it. It sounds like it would just be so fulfilling and rewarding.
That's why I teach, and that's why everyone should do something creative. It is rewarding, and it's more rewarding if you've done something hard than if you've done paint by number or something, so that's why we paint from a photo and we do something really cool. And then eventually, not only are we just learning what the class project is step by step by step, those students are very much encouraged to do their own work, and I help them with it as well.
I'm loving all of this. You mentioned in that response something about all of us being creative. So you believe all humans have this kind of innate need to create.
I absolutely do believe it. There's so many doctrine. There's so much you can read about, but really, honestly, it just comes down to all kids did art when they were younger, and they just did it. They didn't get upset about it unless someone told them something weird. But let's just get back to that. Let's go back to rewind and get back into art. Everybody can do it. It's so important.
Have you seen art serve in maybe a therapeutic or in a healing process with any of your friends or colleagues or even yourself?
I believe it is art therapy. So I believe it's one in itself. I'm not an art therapist. I know that's a real thing. But I believe that art is therapy, and getting in a group painting is absolute therapy. These people are bonding. My students all get together and they put all their work on the ledge and talk about it. And sometimes I have to I don't referee at all, but I kind of have to say, hey, I feel that when I get a critique, first of all, no one's asking for a critique, they're just sharing. But if I get a critique, it's from someone worthy. And if you're not worthy, you really, don't say much. Just say positive things.
Yeah, that's tough because it is definitely putting yourself out there, and it's probably their best effort. So I can see how that could be a lot to take in if you're getting a critique. All right, I want to talk about our art gala. We'll do that after the break. So coming up after the break, we're going to talk about Touchmark at Emerald Lake, our first art gala. That's coming up this fall, and Trish will be our art curator. So stay with us. We've got more to come.
Touchmark at Emerald Lake is a full-service community. That means that we have independent living, assisted living, memory care. The care is individualized to what people's needs are. We want to bring engagement to people's lives. We want really the full life where people meet new friends, they have things to do every day, and it's a totally different experience than what maybe they thought was going to happen at Touchmark. Touchmark is different. We're excited to show you why. Even though Touchmark's new to McKinney, Texas, we're not new to senior living. Touchmark has been around for 40 years, providing service to families and individuals that whole time. This is something that we love to do, and we take great pride and honor in providing services to seniors. We believe and work every day to make Touchmark communities communities. It's great to help people have more fulfilling and enriching lives. It's part of our culture and who we are.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our video podcast, Living the Full Life. We're talking about art, and we're talking about beautiful art that's created here in northern Texas by many, many artists. One of them is Trish Poupard, and she is also going to be the art curator for the upcoming Touchmark Art Gala in November. And Trish, we've had a great conversation about how you got in the industry, a little bit about your inspiration. But one of the things that's fascinating to me is how you get invited to an art show, or how you get your foot in the door to an art gala. So tell me about that process.
Well, yes. So Christina, it's something that you really have to step out of your zone. I call it, putting on like big girl pants, or, so a lot of my artists, I really do encourage them to eventually show their work, but showing your work, it takes a lot of guts. And that's just showing your work locally. That's not even a juried show. So juried shows, that's a whole nother animal. And so you can't really be upset if you don't get invited. You just keep on entering. And if I've gotten a rejection on a painting, I'll enter it somewhere else and it'll go there. And if it didn't get an award, it might get an award somewhere else.
So you fill out an application and you submit some of your work, and then they'll let you know if they want to see more. And then you might show 3 to 10 or what? Anything?
Right. So a juried show is generally one.
Oh, you get one shot.
Yeah. So if they let you enter more than one, then they'll pick one.
Oh, okay.
Some shows are more than one. Okay. 2. And that's most of them aren't.
So it's very competitive.
Super competitive.
Okay. And tell me what that experience was like. And the very first show you got to show at. Walk us through that day.
Oh boy, I don't remember it, but most shows, when I enter a show, it might have been something local. I think if people start local, it's easier. And so, I really want to say is that I like to get awards. So it's if it's juried, it kind of has like my name on it. But there are so many shows that aren't juried, and you can Google art shows and then, see what's up. Once you enter, there's different websites that take care of that. They're usually a free website, but there's always a fee.
Okay.
Always. Sometimes not, if it's just local or regional. And then you don't know if you'll get in. And I this is interesting because sometimes my students are like, well, I paid, $40. What if I don't get in? Well, then it was $40 spent towards that award or those awards.
Yeah, so it's an emotional and financial and a time commitment. Like you're putting it all out there in hopes to get chosen.
Exactly.
So what are the benefits for an artist? Why would an artist want to do this? What is the benefit of this?
Well, one benefit is that once you are seen, you can start selling your work. And most of the exhibitions I'm in, your work must be for sale. So that's how it's, yeah, it's like a big deal. And then it really is about really meeting people and getting with people and encouraging others. And I find the watercolor community to be so receptive to friendliness and warmth, wonderful things like that.
And as you and I visited, you told me here in northern Texas, you have interconnections and know, I mean, almost every artist and medium, you've either crossed paths or taught with them or presented with them. And that community, there's some resources there for mentoring.
Exactly.
A little bit of lifting.
Right, you're correct. There are so many art societies and little groups, and they're all over North Texas and even not North Texas. But they are, and you'll meet so many people. And so each group that you become a member of, there's another fee, but it's really well worth it. Every city has a group. So every city, and they have a show, maybe two. And then they also have meetings every month. And then you're going to see a demo artist in person, or I'm going to be asked to demonstrate, and maybe paid and maybe not. And then that's more encouragement and people talking about all the different things they do. It just keeps going and going and going. And yes, so I have quite a pool of people that I might not know them right off, but I know the groups and I can look them up. And
You've had connections. And so it sounds like there's both ways to have a lot of discouragement along the way, but also ways to have little victories on your journey to being, presenting everywhere and having your work really well known. Okay, so it came time to talk about an art gala at Touchmark, and we did not give you a lot of notice. We grabbed you and said, let's see what happens if we put together an art show. And it didn't take you very long. What was your inspiration? How did you pull together the things that you'll show this fall with us?
well, I knew that I had people I could count on that had, like you said, you wanted 8 to 10 pieces, 6 to 8, depending on how big. And I knew that I could count on certain people that knew how to send a file, they knew how to hang a painting. That's a big deal right there. They
Have inventory.
Yeah, right. So knowing people, and I just went to different people, and of course I didn't go to all watercolors because that wouldn't make it really interesting. Well, it does make a great show, by the way. But I know so many others, and so I didn't even get to the bottom of any list. But
Very good. So we have 11 artists. What type of different mediums will we see at this show?
wow, I'm so excited. These are super talented people, and not only do they live locally, like they live like not super locally, like some of them live like an hour away. So this is really exciting. Some of these people are plein air, so they paint outside. Most of them are studio painters. I have one of them that's an urban sketcher, and she teaches as well. And everybody's really humble, even though they're amazing. They won't say that out loud. Let me think of the other mediums. Oh, so there's acrylics. I've got acrylic collage. I've got oils, a photographer. And I'm saying like each one of them is like the cream of the crop. And so for them to have, to say, hey, I will do this, it was kind of like, a friendly thing. And I think that's wonderful. And the fact you can sell your work, and thanks to Touchmark being so generous, 0 fees, 0 commissions, everyone's going to be super happy.
Yeah, our purpose was not to collect any sort of percentage or anything. Our purpose was let's bring vibrant, amazing talent into the community and have them meet our vibrant and active residents. And we have an art studio on our campus. So it just felt like such a great tie-in. So Wednesday, November 8th, tell me what people can expect when they attend.
Okay, so from 6 to 8 p.m., there's going to be a reception. The art will be hanging on walls, and also we have some panels freestanding. in like a starfish formation so that people can walk around and kind of hang out. And the artists that are invited are actually invited to show up and talk to everybody. And so far, hopefully everyone will be there. There's one person that's going to be out of town painting on location.
Okay, so people who attend could actually talk with the creator and ask about the inspiration or the title. What is that like as an artist when someone comes up to you and says, "This is beautiful, tell me about it"? What's that like?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because nobody kind of sees anything the same. So when someone else starts to talk about my work and they don't know that I've painted the work that they're looking at, I kind of like to listen in. And I get insight as well. So not only are we going to share insight, we're also going to listen around and hear what people have to say, because everyone always has a different opinion, and it's always really cool.
And we are going to sell work. So what's the price point look like?
Right. This is really exciting. Everyone is priced where they need to be for to sell the work, like as low as they can go. They had no fees. They didn't have to ship, all that. So I actually have pieces for $150 on up to $700, and those $700 pieces should be in the thousands. So it's really exciting what the deals we're gonna see. And
Excellent. And so people can come and buy a Christmas gift or look around. And I've seen the previews of the work, and it's gorgeous. I can't wait to see it. We're going to have live music and beverages and finger foods from our chef, and it's just going to be a fun night to kind of kick off fall. And we're going to do it again in 6 months. So we'll have more advance notice for that one for sure. But one thing that fascinates me is, how do you know when a piece is done? Because you have commissioned pieces, and you also have pieces that are just up here or on a sketch, but how do you know that you finished it?
that takes some experience. There's a few different tricks. I always have a trick. So that's kind of why I teach. I just want people to know the tricks so they're not intimidated. But one of the things that I do is I tell people, when you think you're kind of done, and you're done when you've hit every area a few times with watercolor, don't keep going over it. Just one thing I do is I take a photo every time I've painted and I finish that session. Take a photo flat, with lots of light, and then walk away, and either before bed or later I review it, and boy, if that doesn't already change. The other thing is there's a resting period, and this is crucial. 3 to 5 days of a rest. And when a painting is done to me, I rest it. And it means that I walk away, I'm working on something else, obviously, and then it's actually either on an easel, like looking at me. I don't really paint on an easel, that's watercolor. I kind of paint on a slant on a table, but I put an easel up, I walk around, or if someone's, in their house, they leave it like on a shelf or leaning against a counter, and you can stare at it on the way, like walking by, and you give it a look, and sure enough, it'll start to speak to you in 3 to 5 days, and then you go, what did it say? Well, then the list has changed in your minds, because we are kind of fickle artists, and we kind of like beat ourselves up. So I kind of work on that, coaching with people. Like, nobody sees what you see. On the other hand, I don't see what my students see. So when they ask me, how do I fix this? I'm like, well, what do you see? What do you see? Like, what's wrong with it to you, not to me, because it's going to be different.
So you're maybe walking past, and then you come to closure and you say, yay.
Done.
And that has to feel great. But you told me you're painting 3 pieces at the same time. How is that easy to go between? Minimum. Is it easy to go between maybe a landscape and a person and you just do it?
That's why I do that. That's why you just said it. I do that because what if I'm entering, something, and I needed another piece and they're all out or whatever, maybe I need a portrait. And so I've always got something working on, and then I can, finish it. So I kind of feel like I can rest it indefinitely, which I don't.
So average time for 11 by 17, 11 by 24, average time, hours, what would you say?
Oh boy.
Too hard because it's so different, the medium.
A lot of people paint very fast, and I don't. I have been told that, starting as a photorealist, I've been told that I am no longer a photorealist.
Uh-oh.
I am, the dirty word of impressionism comes up, which most people want to be impressionistic. So I'm really thrilled that that's come up and that now I'm more like that. But no, it takes me, I want to say 20 to 30 to 40 hours.
On
It
one
used to take 60. So I'm faster now.
Yeah.
But
So it's a labor of love and a labor of talent and time. All right, so you're also going to teach at Touchmark, and we're going to have some of your students that you're teaching and some of our residents join. What will you be teaching? Is it like a workshop style, or how do you do that?
right. So I don't like to teach workshops because I really want people to just get in there and start a project and go from, start to finish and take weeks. It'll still only be 10 to 12 hours. It's not going to be, so they generally can finish it maybe later if they didn't finish it, or come back to the next class, because we always need another project to work on. So the actual structure of the class is everyone's going to be painting the same subject, chosen by them eventually. The first one will be me, from a photo. And then we go step by step, and that's kind of how it works. And they're going to use real materials. They're not going to use like horrible, paper. That's the no-no. So it's going to be fun.
And you're going to show them the tips and tricks to give it that elevated look.
Absolutely.
Because that's you can just see the difference when you've had just a little bit of guidance and a mentor.
Absolutely. So it's going to be working through each painting, and then I demo during every session, and then everyone goes back and starts working on the section, that we have started on, and then I go around and talk to everyone, and it's absolutely going to happen that someone's going to get flustered, and the end of their they get kind of like, it's in the ugly stage. So I understand, like, let's tell them, this is the ugly stage the whole time you're painting, usually.
But tell the rest.
You get over it really fast when you've completed a work. And I remember my first students, and it's kind of nice to have them come along, because they'll say, oh yeah, I knew nothing about painting ever since I was like young, which I still didn't. And then, had a conniption fit during during the time when we were doing the floral. I think flowers are really hard to do. And sure enough, we worked right through it. She was done with it. They bring it home, they frame it, they are amazed, and then they're hooked.
And then they're hooked.
They should be.
I love it. I'm so glad we met, and I'm super excited about this show because your talents and connections are pulling together such a vibrant group for us to start with. So thanks so much for joining us today, and we will definitely be having you back with us again. So we hope that you'll consider joining us at Touchmark for our Fall 2023 Art Gala, T.A.G. Touchmark Art Gala. That will be Wednesday, November 8th. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. Touchmark at Emerald Lake, that's in McKinney, and we'll be serving yummy finger foods, beverages, and we will have live music. That will do it for us today. We will have more Living the Full Life. Again, we hope to see you then. Take care.